Hi, everybody. It's Ethony, and thank you for joining me on this Monday morning talking about building your confidence as a tarot reader. And I'm really, really excited. I've got tons to get through. So let's try and get through all of it in the 20 minutes, and then we're going to have some questions at the end. So building your confidence as a tarot reader is such a massive topic, but some of the things I wanted to talk about today are completely universal. And I have a couple of little exercises for you to do as well that you can share with me or share with others if you want to, that can actually get down to some of the root causes of maybe why you're getting a little bit stuck in your tarot practice. Now, before I get stuck into everything, I wanted to just acknowledge that every tarot reader is different. Every tarot reader approaches their readings in a different way, and there is space for everyone. I was taught to be a predictive tarot reader from day one. When I picked up the cards and the books, and the first time I actually did any formal training with the teacher, I was taught to be a predictive tarot reader. That is not everyone's path, and I have absolutely added a lot to my toolkit, like coaching, and I do a lot of business coaching. I do a lot of personal relationship coaching. I do healing. I do obviously magic, being a witch. There's lots of stuff that has been added to that. So I just wanted to say everyone's practice is completely valid. So how we build confidence as a reader is there's a number of ways that you can do this. The first thing I wanted to, so point number one, hashtag number one, is that be aware that everybody starts somewhere, and that everybody has bad days. It can be very hard if you get stuck in this comparison paralysis. If you see all these people online smashing it, knocking it out of the ballpark, doing amazing things, and you think that will never be me, or I will never be good enough, or like, how does she do it, or how does he do it, or how do they do it all the time? Well, we all started somewhere. I have got books that have got highlighters all the way through it. I used to read my guidebooks to and from on the bus when I was at work, working in jobs, and just know that your journey is going to be one that hopefully, if tarot is for you, is going to help you the rest of your life. Is going to grow with you. And we all have crappy days. We all have days where it's just not happening. We're not on our A game. You see this with professional athletes where they just have a bad day, or we're on the wrong side of the bed, or our intuition is just not having it. Our guides are being snarky and not coming down to play, or the cards just absolutely give us nothing. So if you have a bad day, it does not mean that you are a bad reader. Just chalk that up to having a crappy day and get back on the horse. One of the things I found that's really helpful when you're having a bad day is leave it if you can. If you clock into a sort of like a online thing where you're talking to people, like a hotline or something like that, you may not be able to. But for me, I know that with my clients, unless it's a live reading, it tends to work. But if I'm having a really bad day and I'm doing pre-record, like recorded readings, I'll just say, you know what, I need to go for a walk and come back to it. The second thing about building your confidence is being around people and learning from people who have a positive, amazing thing to share, and knowing that your learning is never, ever going to finish. One thing that I find can be really helpful is going back to basics every now and then as well. So cracking out a foundations book, or learning from a new teacher, doing something like going to a conference, going to an online conference, or something like this, where you get to learn a lot of different things can really help your confidence, because it can be inspiring and you may also learn something. One of the big things I recommend to all of my students is to lean into the cards that actually break their confidence a little bit. So one of the reasons why I wrote this bad boy, my book, was because people really struggle with the court cards. It tends to be the cards that come up and people are just like, uh-oh, spaghetti-o. So I wanted to write something that was going to allow people to break through from that, oh, what am I going to do? I now have 5 court cards in my 7-card reading. If the court cards are what baffles you or crush your confidence, lean into them. learn them, love them, get to really shake the branches of that tree and allow those to become your friends. The more you do that, the less you're going to feel as though those cards are like, oh, please don't let that card come up, or please don't let that card come up, because you get stuck. And if there are scary cards, if there are cards that reflect a really difficult memory in your life, or there are cards that you just absolutely get stuck on. I know from students, there is like justice is a card that they get very stuck on a lot of the time, or a court card, not a court card, sorry, another major arcana card that it really stumps you, or even a minor arcana card. You're like, what's the difference between, the Ace of Pentacles and say like the Magician, because they both have this ability to manifest? Well, actually do a little bit of research. Don't be afraid of doing a little bit of the hard work. And also lean into the cards that always come up for you. So if you have cards that are constantly coming up in readings for yourself, that is an opportunity for you to really dig into a different aspect of that card. Often we have those cards that follow us around because there is a lesson for us to learn as well. And I'm sure there are tons of readers here that can actually give you examples of when they've had a reading and like some of that reading for someone else, and some of that reading is like, oh no, that actually makes sense for me. The next thing I wanted to share, and I'm probably going fast and furious because I want to get through all of my notes here that I've made, is getting comfortable with the fact that you are going to get it wrong. Get comfortable with that fact. Get okay with people telling you that your reading was not accurate. There are a number of reasons why people's readings are not accurate. Sometimes it is that the person you're reading for is so blocked off, they are not even hearing what you have to say. Remember, a lot of clients and a lot of people who come to a reading want to hear a specific thing. We've come in with a hope or a bias or a desire. And if you're not delivering what they want to hear, sometimes that just shuts people down and they're not going to hear anything else, which is one of the reasons why I really enjoy having all of my readings recorded, because if that person wasn't ready to hear that message because it wasn't what they wanted to hear, a couple of days later, when maybe they're in a bit of a better headspace, they can come back and listen to it again and hopefully get something out of it. But I've had a number of readings where you can just tell that this person was not having it. They wanted me to give them lip service. They wanted me to tell them what they wanted to hear instead of me actually doing my job, which was reading the cards. So get comfortable with that. You are going to have bad reviews. You are going to have people say that doesn't make any sense. And some of the great ways to build your confidence around that is, firstly, have something in your little toolbox that you can give to people. So if someone comes back to me, a client comes back to me and says, that doesn't really make sense, I let people know, the tarot is a reflection of pathways, and it may not be that path is open to you yet. Give the reading a little bit of time to sink in before you decide whether it is completely wrong or right, or whether it makes sense or not. Reflect on it a little bit. Give it a bit of time to percolate. Give it a little bit of time to marinate. It might actually make sense in a week or so. The other thing that you may want to do if the reading is completely not making sense and you're getting really stuck with this whole like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do if someone comes back to me and says that my reading sucked and that you suck and that you can't do this and all that sort of stuff, is get used to, it's called rejection therapy. And I wouldn't recommend this for everybody, but do lousy readings, and don't do them like publicly, but just tell people, like have some friends that you trust tell you that your readings suck, just so that you're used to hearing it. Again, it's not for everyone, but there's this really interesting blog post about the 100-day rejection challenge, where this gentleman did 100 things that he absolutely expected he was going to get rejected for, just to get comfortable with that uncomfortable feeling of being told no, or being told that something is not right. So he would like go up to a random stranger and be like, can I have $100? And of course, it's because I was going to say no, but it would be amazing if that person said yes. But he did all those sorts of things just to get used to that, hearing that. Because another big thing is we fear this thing in the ether, and half the time it doesn't even happen. So if you can brace yourself for that, but no, everyone has a bad day. Everyone gets it wrong sometimes. And it's not you that is wrong. It was the reading was off. That's it. It was just the thing. Another really good thing to remember when it's building your confidence is to round out your practice. So reading tarot books is like amazing. If you can see my bookshelves, they are full of magic books and full of tarot books. But you may want to look at reading other books as well. So if you're getting a lot of relationship books, go and grab a couple of really good relationship books. Like I recommend to nearly everyone the 5 Love Languages, because that can really help with a lot of communication stuff. Esther Perel's work is really amazing. Go and get some books that'll help you navigate some of the more common things that come up, because you're going to start to see patterns, especially if you go pro. But remember, you're also not, unless you are a doctor or a lawyer, remember that you also have boundaries that you don't have to cross. Another little tip for you is to observe your client and to observe their life, but do not absorb. You are not responsible for your client's life choices. You are there, I believe, to empower your client to see the options before them, the pathways, the choices that they can make to empower their own lives and to get them back into the driver's seat. Often people come to a tarot reader because they feel like a part of their life is out of control or unknown to the point where they are looking for some guidance. And if you can help them get back into the driver's seat, then it's not about like you being wrong or right necessarily, even if you're doing predictive readings. So one of the things that I do for predictive readings is I like to give my clients choices. So if someone comes to me and says, I've got this job, I want to know if this job is going to work out, should I take this job offer? So I will have a look, this job offer going to be really good monetary wise? Like, is this going to be financially worth it? Is this job going to be a really good fit culture wise? Are you going to get along with everyone there? Is this going to be really good for you spiritually and energetically? Because sometimes, and I've been in this situation myself, you know, the pay's really good, the job's really good, but you are just drained. And after, you know, a couple of years, you get completely burnt out. So instead of just saying, yeah, this job's going to be great, you're going to make a lot of money, I want to give my client some information that's going to see different segments of their reading. And then also, is there another job out there that is better for whatever reason? And not that I would ever tell, you know, my clients whether they should do one thing or another. And then it's up to them. I'm informing my client to give them these empowered choices. But you are not responsible for your client's life. That can be particularly difficult if you start to get clients that come back regularly. I have clients for a very, very long time, and I see them, you know, usually once every 6 months, once a year. But I know those names and they hit my inbox when they booked a reading, and I know a lot about their lives. Like, I am blessed to know about a lot about their lives, and you start to really get I mean, maybe I'm just a big softie, but I do get very close, and it can be very difficult. But I have to remember that I have to observe as a professional and not get absorbed in their life as a friend. And that is something I learned very early on. I'm an empath. I have been since I was a wee little child. Well, you know, since I guess I'd say you're born, I think, if that's it, if you're born an empath. And so for me, learning that distancing energetically has been a lifesaver, and something that I would recommend everyone if they find that they are that boundaries breaking while they're doing the readings, and it's crushing their confidence, because then the reading starts to mold into more of what the client wants and less about what's actually going on. Then get some practice in that, which leads me to my next point, which is practice, 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 and then practice some more. So reading is an absolute muscle. It is something that you want to get pretty strong at. You know, some people are like The Rock. They are very, very defined, a total professional, and amazing. And some of us, you know, aren't so muscly with it, if we'll be using that analogy. But practicing is going to make it so much easier. You'll find that the more you get to know those cards and the combinations and what they can possibly mean, the better. You can do flashcards. So simply grabbing a deck and, quickly pulling them over. You say, okay, fortitude, hope, trapped, community, it's over, guidance, I should probably do this slower, travel, that's another one, the past, heartbreak, choice. So if you can go through each one of the cards and just even have one keyword just as quickly as that, it's going to really help you after when it comes up, because even if you've got nothing else but that keyword, you can see how that keyword connects to the keyword next to it and connects to the keyword on the other side or above and below it, however you're doing it. But flashcards, even if I am not a good rote learner, believe me, I suck at it. But the one thing that is really great about, there's many things about tarot that are wonderful, but one of the benefits to the tarot is it is a visual language. It's a symbolic language. So even if you have this memory thing that like not necessarily easy, if you can get to a place where your brain sees the symbol or the title or the number or just an image in the card, and then that is what tricks that keyword coming out, it will work. But you may need to find a deck that works for you in that way, and then you'll find that every deck will work in that way for you. Okay, so the other thing about building your confidence is an absolute pillar of magical practice, and something that I think is key to absolutely living a life that you love anyway. You have to know yourself. You have to be able to be willing to do the work, and the work is not always easy and it's not always fun. So know what your boundaries are because you know yourself. Know what makes you feel uncomfortable because you know yourself. Know what kinds of readings you want to do and you will do, and what ones you won't do. Know your ethics and stick with them, and be okay with the fact that things are going to evolve. You may have to turn clients away. And that is much better than feeling absolutely rotten in a reading because you now have to say halfway through or whatever that you can't do the reading anymore, and disappoint your client and have that conversation, versus just saying, unfortunately, I'm not the right reader for you. I can refer you to somebody else. That is one of the things that I really appreciate about having quite a lot of information about me online, is that you can see what kind of reader I am. You can go to my YouTube channel and check out the kind of sassy nonsense that I talk about. You know exactly what you're getting. You know what kind of reader I am. And that helps kind of people know. Have an intake form. Many great readers have intake forms. I even have information I ask my clients as well. That's going to help you with your boundaries. Okay, next one, be prepared. It's a good girl guide. What was the girl guides? Boy Scouts. It was what I used to say it was a girl guide. Yes, it was a girl guide. Be prepared for some situations where you will need to refer people to other professionals, and you'll have to close out the reading. If you have little scripts, it can be very, very helpful. So if you find that a reading is just not going the way you want it to, your client's closed off, or it's not happening that day, you are the professional, especially if you are reading for other people. If you're just reading for friends, you are still the professional in that situation. You are the one they are coming to for a reading. You set the rules, you set the stage, and you can say, look, this is just not happening. Or if you're reading for friends and you're just like, you know what, like I'm too close to this. I can't really give you a reading, but here's the guidebook and here are the cards you laid out, knock yourself out. But for a client, you wouldn't necessarily say that. But for your friends, you certainly can. With a client, you can say, look, I realize this reading is not going the way that you anticipated or that you expected. Maybe the best thing for us to do right now is to terminate the reading, and I will give you a refund. I would much rather have that conversation and have that client leaving my space and knowing that I have acted professionally than worrying about, the missing money from my bank account. I have not had to have many of those readings. I don't even remember the last time I've had that conversation, but it has happened to me in the past. I have also been reading for a very long time, most of my life. So now it's like just this extension of me. It's a part of me, but it did happen at the beginning, and people did shake my confidence. People who had very big, strong energy before I kind of came into my own confidence rattled me a little bit, because I was trying to I was trying to preempt what they wanted and make them happy and be a people pleaser, instead of this is my my 10th and most important one. But yeah, so when you're trying to please people, it can turn into an absolute nightmare. So don't do that. don't people please. It's going to kill your reading, because not only are you going to maybe kill your credibility, you're going to kill your confidence in the cards, because you're mixing it up. You're not reading what the cards say, so therefore the meanings aren't going to stick with you. You're compromising that connection you have with the cards as well. Never mind the person you're reading for. But have a little referral book next to you that has the name of crisis centers, you know, phone numbers for places that people can contact if they need assistance, even local people. I do most of my readings internationally and online, so I'd have a bunch of different numbers, and professionals that I love and trust that I can go and send them to if there's something that I cannot assist them with. Also, a good lawyer and a good doctor. You know, if you know a good lawyer, I'm talking about someone that you actually trust. I have an amazing local law firm that I trust. I have lawyers in the States that I know that I can refer people to, that I know are not going to take people for a ride, and also good doctors, people that understand issues of minority groups and our lovely I always get this wrong, LGBTIQ, I'm sorry, I apologize if I definitely got that wrong, community as well, because those needs are completely different for people, and not all counsellors are able to really help that. Well, they're not all trained professionally to help people in for all different walks of life. And now the 10th most important thing, read the cards. They are great words from Rachel Pollack, the amazing Rachel Pollack. Read the cards. You are there to read the cards. Don't deviate from it. I know readers who look down and don't even look up at their clients when they're doing readings face-to-face. I've done that many times. I'm not going to look for your cues. I'm not going to look and see whether that's hitting home for you. I'll pass you a tissue if you're crying, but I'm not going to see whether I'm getting it right or wrong. I'm going to trust myself, trust my intuition, open my mouth, just start talking, allow my guides to come in and deliver the message, and then we can open a conversation after I have delivered what needs to be delivered, and we can go from there. But you are there to read the cards. Don't make it about you. That's a huge thing that happens as well. It's not about you. You're there to serve your client. If you are able to move that energy from like, oh my gosh, what if I'm wrong? What if I get it wrong? What if they hate me? What if I'm like the worst? What if they give me a bad review? That's all about you. If you can actually shift that, and this is another really thing, that's something that like blew my mind and changed my practice. If you can shift that from, it's not about me. I'm here to be of service to my clients and to the people I'm reading. And when you move it on to how can I serve somebody else, that removes so much of that confidence crushing inner chatter, because you're getting ego out of the way and you're placing the energy and the desire right where it should be, which is on your clients or your querent, depending on what kind of readings you like to do and if you are a professional. So those are my my little things. Before we get on to don't put the chat on just yet, because I've got a couple of things that you can do. So if you are finding that you're not really quite sure why you're stuck, I recommend a couple of quick little exercises. Some homework. Okay, so all you need for this is a pen and paper. And the first thing you want to do is write a great tarot reader is, and do a big brainstorm. So you write in the middle, a great tarot reader is, like I've done here, great tarot reader is, and then don't think about it too much. Just write everything that comes to you. They're confident, they're knowledgeable, they're this, they're that, they're whatever. They're sparkly farting unicorns. I don't know, like whatever you think a great tarot reader is. Gosh, now I'm thinking about sparkly farting unicorns. Okay, and then the next thing you want to do is write down, I would be a great tarot reader if only I, and then complete that sentence. And that's going to help you get to the point of like where you feel like you're stuck. And then another little prompt you may want to do for a little bit of like deeper work is, I fear reading tarot for others because, and then finishing that as well, even if it's a massive list. Know that no matter what you write down in that, I feel you're reading for others because, or someone of us, another professional, just like me, has had those moments where we felt that exact same thing. We are all human. We all feel those emotions, and you got to just remember that if you can put some of these things into practice, make it about being of service, read the cards, be in your boundaries, know yourself, and practice your little butt off, you will find the confidence absolutely comes with practice. And you can turn on the chat now. Okay, so I know that this takes a bit of time for the lag to come in, but if there's anyone who has a question, hey Melissa, please let me know. I really do feel as though my words are a little bit on some days. I do have issues. So this is from Kelly. I do have issues with beginning to read for others. I fear I'll get brain freeze and look foolish, or maybe look like a fraud to a paying customer. So if this happens, one of my first formal tarot teacher just said to me, open your mouth and start talking. So for you, Kelly, start talking. Even if that's just describing the cards, even if that's so saying, oh, I see you have here the Lovers, and that is in the center of your reading, which means there is a really important choice that is affecting your past and your future. Boom, you started that reading off, baby, and you can be off with a roar. If there is a symbol that you're connected to, even if you just say to the client, is there a symbol in this card, or what card is jumping out at you? Start talking, and don't be afraid of giving a little bit of space for you to think about it, but don't clam up. Make sure that even if you've given yourself 30 seconds, which can be a long time, when someone else is sitting at the going like, what am I going to get in my reading? Allow the space to digest your reading before you speak it, but don't clam up. Allow you, just talk. How often is so this is from Zadia, how often is too much to read? It really depends on the question you're asking, but if you're asking, and why, I guess, but if you're constantly asking the cards because you want a different answer, that is definitely too much. If you're going from tarot to what we call fishing because you want to hear something specific, that is too much. If you're doing it because you can't make decisions for yourself, that is too much. I usually get clients who come to me every 6 months or every few months. Like every few months is probably where I would max out on where it's becoming a little bit too much, or if there's a massive life change. That would be what I would say there. Let's have a look. I'm just scrolling. Thank you. I love my glasses too. Okay, Jennifer asks a really good question. How do you deal with giving someone bad news? It's never fun. It's never fun. So knowing that it just sucks is like part of it. Many of my readings are exactly like this. I'm talking to, I'm doing the reading and just channeling the information out. And I just say to people, look, I'm not going to sugarcoat this for you. You're about to hit a rocky patch, or this relationship is over, or you need to get out of there, or you already know this is a shit show. Sorry, I probably wasn't supposed to swear. What's gonna happen? Hashtag swear bear. So working on your bedside manner and even practicing delivering hard news can really, really help. I've said this a couple of times before, but if that is what's going to crush your confidence, working on your wording is really, really good. So if you know that there are going to be hard things that come up, how can you say it in the most loving and compassionate way without dulling down the actual meaning? You know, don't be that person who breaks up with someone, but it was so nice. They're like, what just happened? And we together. So you want to make sure that you're actually delivering the message, but practicing that and working on your wording and being as compassionate as you possibly can, but also holding the space for the fact that that is happening. Sometimes people need witnesses to their hard stuff. So sometimes you need to be able to just say to them, look, this is some rough stuff, but bedside manner really, really helps. It never gets easy telling someone shitty news. I did it again. So getting comfortable with that for sure. Oh, sorry, Annie, the deck that I held the cards up from is my Bad Bitches Tarot. Sorry, I just grabbed the first deck that was next to me. Margaret R, how do you stay healthy and grounded during readings regularly? Really good question. My energetic hygiene is on point, honey. I make sure I have aura sprays, I ground. I don't drink anyway, but I'm very careful about my energetic space. When I start my readings, I don't overdo it in a day, so I know where my cap is. I'm really pretty useless after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like done. My rhythm's like, I'm out. I try to get a lot of sleep, but protect, ground, cut the cords if you need to, and debrief. I have a blog post where I talk a lot about protecting yourself after a reading, but even debriefing can be a really great way of just kind of getting it out and off of your chest a little bit. But grounding is great, you know, having I've got like right here, smoky quartz, black tourmaline, this is just in my workspace, hematite, garnets and things like that to help. But yeah, it's a regular ritual routine for me for sure. John, thank you so much. What book would you recommend for someone wanting to learn? Well, there are lots of amazing resources. Llewellyn has a ton of fantastic books. Oh my gosh. Kitchen Table Tarot by the amazing Melissa Sonova, who's just on. Go get yourself that book. It's here somewhere. It's on my bookshelf. I can't pull it out, otherwise this thing's going to fall. But definitely get that book. So this is from Will Paxflaw. I've done general readings for other people, but what are your thoughts about doing readings for clients who do not reveal a question? Oh, I hate them. No offense, I hate them. Mud in, mud out, guys. Like, seriously, clarity in, clarity out. I ask my clients to tell me what the heck is going on. I don't mind doing general readings, but it's going to be general feedback. If you give me a question, if you tell me where I need to tell my guides to go, here's the thing. When I start reading, I get like this big like network of things that are going on in a person's life. If I don't know where to like focus my cards, if I don't know what context I'm working in, if I don't know what you actually want, then you're going to get a gem. If you want like the best damn reading, you are going to give someone a question. I think that actually comes back. Some people don't want it. Some people work, if they are mediums or channelers, they don't want any information. I want information because I need to know which train track I'm going down, quite frankly. So asking, not expecting that all readers are the same, but actually sticking to it. Like if someone doesn't want to give you any information, I say to them, okay, well, I'll give you a general reading, but this is what it's going to be like. So otherwise, you can give me a question and tell me what you're really here for. And just that sassy. So I prefer to have a question, and I always ask my clients what they want to know. As a matter of fact, my offerings are offered that way: 1 question, 2 question, love reading, career reading. I'm like, tell me what I'm doing here. Yeah, just tell them it's just going to be a general reading, but I much prefer to have a question. Anastasia, I recently bought the Steampunk Tarot deck. Have you got any advice to fully connect to a deck? Yes, I have a blog post on that too, about 8 ways to connect with a new deck. We will run out of time before I can get to all of them, but really taking your time to look at each card, using them for daily draws is a really good way too, and read your guidebooks, because if you have one, because there's always little nuggets of truth there too. Jade, what are your thoughts on YouTube tarot readings, like pick a card readings and zodiac sign general readings? I don't watch a lot of them. I do Oracle Wednesday every week, if anyone knows of a hashtag Oracle Wednesday, and they're my like general readings every week. I think if there's something in there for you, then you're going to enjoy it. But it's also like if you're doing zodiac signs in general, that's a big general reading. That's like an overview of an energy that's happening, and that's all they are. I personally would not go to those readings as a way to like get to the heart of my matter or get to the heart of what I want to know for myself. I would want to get a one-on-one reading, but for a general reading, I mean, sure, they're super popular. So, Jennifer, I'm curious, when you said you read books on your way to your work, what was my past job? I was in HR, recruitment and operations for many, many years in Australia, before I moved to tarot, doing my tarot and teaching at my academy online. This would be 7 years I moved into it full time. So I held a corporate job for since I was like 17. April, do I use Oracle decks? Yes, I do. And I create Oracle decks as well. How do you deal with bad news? Oh my gosh, there's so many questions. Okay, so if anyone has any questions, because I know we're running out of time and I haven't been able to answer it, you can find me at Ethony on like everywhere. So at Ethony, like Instagram, Ethony Tarot on Facebook. I have a tarot group, Tarot Readers Academy, and you can come and ask me questions there. I have Tarot Summer School that's running at the moment with 12 courses, which is run every year. So that's at www.tarotreadersacademy.com, which is my academy where I teach, and a bunch of teachers are teaching as well from all over the world. Super fun. I also have a YouTube channel. So if you are having any trouble accessing anything, please make sure you just contact me. I'm on all social media, because I think that I got, I think I missed a few. Have I ever used a Lenormand deck? Yes, and I've also created a Lenormand deck. Oh, sorry, yeah, Llewellyn's telling me to bugger off. No, nicely, they're very nice about it. I said just start playing me like the Oscar music. All right, everyone. Big love to you all. Hope you have an amazing week. And remember, come and harass me online. Well, no, not like nicely if you have any questions, because I will answer them. Bye.